Hey everyone, I'm Dan and I'm building this Expedition truck. In today's video I'm going to start installing the seals for the slide out room. These seals are something that I've spent many nights laying awake in bed wondering about how I'm going to do it, but I think I've worked it out. So it needs to seal on the lower, it needs to seal when it's open and when it's closed from weather and dust. And there has to be two sets of seals, one for the lower part of the slide out room and then one for the upper part, because like the rest of the truck, the slide out room has a pop top roof. So first of all, instead of trying to show you on the truck, which is a little bit hard to see, I'll just draw on a piece of paper how I think these seals are going to work, and then we'll start installing them. So thank you so much everyone for watching, and let's get into it. So this is the wall of the truck here, main body. Truck. Inside that wall where it meets the slide out room, there's an internal angle like this, and then the slide out room comes out here like this. This is slide out. So when I first started building the truck, I thought I could have a piece of angle at the back of the slide out room that touches this piece and then have a seal in here. But that's not possible because when the slide out room comes out, it bends down a bit. So it would, first of all, this angle would only touch the top point of this angle, and I think it'd put too much weight on it, and I don't want to do that. So I want to put some seals that are connected to the slide out room that just slide into place. So what I'm going to do is put another piece of angle here to create like a bit of a gutter, and then on the slide out room I'll put a piece of angle in there. And on the front of that angle will be a bit of rubber. So there'll be a bit of rubber coming into that gutter. And then behind that angle, there'll be a brush seal that comes in and touches the inside of the gutter there. So hopefully, this bit of rubber and this brush seal will just sort of slide over the top of this internal angle and then click into place. And hopefully any water coming in will hit this rubber first, and that'll take the majority of it. It'll run down out onto the ground. And any water that gets inside here, the brush seal will be another barrier where it will hit, and then it'll run down inside the gutter and then out. So the water basically has to go, it makes a little maze where the water would have to go in, down through there, and then into there, which is pretty difficult for water to do. This is just the lower part of the slide out room. The roof's going to be a different story. That'll have to be a bit of a different setup. But we'll just start with this, and then we'll look at the roof later. I've made these rubber flaps that are going to be attached to the slide out room, and they will fold over the top of our inner angle and then sit inside the gutter to stop water from coming in. And I've also just cut down some of these brush seals that will attach to the inside of the angle that we're going to put onto the main body of the truck. And these brush seals will stop the dust from coming in when the room is in and the roof is lowered. So these brush seals, I just got them from Bunnings, which is, Australian hardware store, because I got the other brush seals I got for the truck that I've already installed on the roof. I got them from a company in Melbourne, a specialty brush seal company, and they were a lot more expensive. And I realized that I could save about $500 if I just got the ones from Bunnings and just modified them a little bit. So now I'm just going to stick this channel that I've cut down. I'm going to stick it on the inside of the angle, wait for the glue to go off, and then tomorrow morning I'll start sticking it all on. This is the seal that I glued together the other day with the extrusion for the brush seal to go in. I decided to stick a piece of rubber over the top of this just to protect the seal and hide it a little bit. So here it is. I just need to trim the brush down a little bit because the brush is too long, and it can be really tricky to trim these brushes down. You can't cut them with scissors because the needles just kind of go everywhere and it just doesn't really work. What I've found is a cheap pair of hair clippers. I got these from Kmart. They were like 15 bucks. If you just set up a little guide, you can just run this along the top of it very slowly and it cuts it. Right, that brush is all trimmed down. Now we will just go and put this one in and see how it looks. I'm definitely not thrilled with how these seals look. I've got half a mind to redo them, but I'm not going to do that. I just need to glue them on now, but the next thing I'm going to do is paint the extrusion for the brush seal that's going to go underneath, and I'll get that cut so we can mount it all in one. I glued our rubber flaps onto the slide out room, so this is how they look basically. Just a rubber flap that runs all the way down, and at the bottom it pokes down a little further than the bottom of the room, so that the water, as it runs down this, won't run back inside, it'll run out off the body of the truck. Now I'll just run the room out and I'll show you how it sort of clicks into place. The other day I cleaned up the area where I keep all these controllers, so I've made it a lot more organised. Still having trouble with the roof. I don't know, I'm going to have to sort that out at some point, but I've got the controller for the roof, the controller for the middle of the roof. What I did to try and solve my actuator issues temporarily is just take the pins out of the middle actuators, and I just run them up separately and they just come up and support the roof once it's up. So there's two separate controllers for those, except this one's giving me trouble. Then there's the deck controller, and then the controller for the slide out room, which is this. Okay, so as you can see, it hits this piece of angle, which is on the frame, and then it's not finished yet, it's got a little bit further to go, but it hits that angle and bends inward. Whoops. And then it sits inside there. And here's this flap I was talking about on the outside, that just folds over this internal angle here and sits down in the front here, so any water that runs down this rubber will not go back inside, it'll run down and then run out. Now we're going to put our other seal, that brush seal, we're going to put that on this face, facing out that way, so it'll be like two layers on top of each other, so the water will have to do like an S to be able to get in. By the time, you know, it may get inside these seals, but it won't have any oomph to it, and it'll just run down and run back out. There will be more seals inside, but these are the external seals. And then under here, I'm going to put a brush seal facing up this way, and it'll contact the bottom of the room all the way along, and there'll be another seal on the inside of that as well. I've moved on from the lower seals and I've started sticking the seals on the top half of the slide out room. So what I've done is I've put a brush seal on the inside of the body around the whole roof, and now I'm going around and I'm putting black aluminium angle over the on the back of the slide out room, so the brush seal is going to contact the roof, and then this angle is going to sort of make a little bit of a gutter around on the inside of the frame. So if any water gets underneath the brush seal, which it will, because brush seals don't really seal against water, it won't be able to actually get inside. It'll get into this little gutter and it'll run down and run in between these two walls and run out onto the ground. We'll go out here and I'll show you the brush seal that I've put on. And this is the roof that opens. Very nice. Okay. You can see the brush seal in there. It contacts the roof all the way down, and it goes up the wall as well. So any water, well, you know, when water inevitably hits the roof and then it runs into this brush seal, the brush seal will stop the majority of it, and then anything that gets underneath that, there's a piece of angle that comes up the back, and it'll hit that and it'll run down down, 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 and then, you know, it'll meet the piece of angle coming up that way, and it'll continue to run down and run out the bottom. The next thing I'm going to do is just seal off the last little seal on this joint on the lower frame. So what I've got is some 90-degree L rubber extrusion, and I'm going to attach that to the frame of the room, and that will contact this piece of angle here. As I've mentioned before, this room is all a little bit out of square, and I'm reluctant to try and square it up because it works at the moment, and if I start trying to pull everything square, it'll probably just turn into more problems. So I'm just going to leave it as it is. It's not perfect, but I am the only one that knows that, and now you guys. So what I'm going to do is just rip a packer that goes, you know, fills the gap at the top and then runs down to nothing at the bottom because it's wider at the top, and then I'll fix the seal through the packer just to get it nice and parallel, and I'll do that on both sides. Got these seals on, one on this side and there is one on the other side. Now we'll just run the room out and we'll see how they seal up. Okay, it's looking pretty good. You can see our seal in here, our rubber seal, which is contacting the angle there. We're having a little bit of a problem because now the seal that goes over this angle is interfering with this seal on this side, and it's not quite clicking over this angle properly, but I can just trim that back a little bit and that should be fine. So there's that side, and then this side over here. Also very hard to see, but looks pretty good. Now we're just going to go and put the seal underneath the floor there. Okay, I've got those seals stuck on underneath. I've got all the seals stuck on, but as I was doing it, my camera had a catastrophic failure. Unfortunately, the tripod, I was doing a little job and the tripod fell over and it smashed the camera. So now we're going to be filming on my phone, which is like this for the foreseeable future until I can get that repaired. And this video, it's not my finest work. It's kind of, I know it's a little bit hard to follow. I did it over about a week and I was kind of going backwards and forwards, and I apologize for that, but I'm just going to show you how it all looks now that it's done, and then we're going to move on to the next thing. So underneath here, it's quite dark, but there's a brush seal on the body under there, and then there's that rubber L that is mounted. This angle holds it in place and it contacts the piece of angle at the back. So that's underneath. Up the sides here, see that? We've got a piece of angle that creates the gutter and a brush seal with a little rubber flap that touches the body of the slide out room, and then on the slide out room we've got that rubber flap. It sits inside that, so it's got two layers there, and then inside, on the very inside, we've got that rubber L that runs all the way around. So that's it there. So we've got the rubber L on the lower frame, we've got the rubber L running all the way around on the inside, and then we've got the rubber flap that comes over into the gutter, and then we've got the brush seal on the body that touches the body of the room. And then the roof is just that brush seal on the outside, and then aluminium coming up the back of that to create a gutter for that. So once the water gets under the brush seal, it'll hit the gutter and run down here, down, and then it'll run down here, and hopefully it'll run out that way. I might just have to put a little silicone drip line in there. So I'm not able to take it outside and test it at the moment, but ostensibly these seals are done for now. I know there will be a little bit of fine tuning, but in the last couple of weeks I've been doing a few jobs at once. I've also been putting some gas struts in to try to overcome the problems we're having with lifting and lowering the roof. I'm filming a video on that as well. I'll finish that soon, hopefully. And I'm also putting the decking on the roof of the cab, which is pretty interesting. So, or just crush something. So you can see I've trimmed out all around the roof rack. Put all decking up there, and I have started laying decking on the top as well. like that. And these are hatches, so these panels lift up. You can get to the storage underneath. So I'm sorry about the janky video. I know it's a little bit hard to follow, but that's it for this week. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.